This is a video showing how to make a small metal casting foundry from a discarded propane tank. As you can see here, it has a lid. We have refractory cement. It's got insulation in it. The burner itself is amazingly simple, made from just common plumbing parts. It's something almost anyone can do. There will be some welding involved on the burner tube going in, and a few other support wires that will need to be welded, which should be fairly simple. You could have this done if you don't have a welder available. What we're going to do is measuring from the floor, or from what it's sitting on. We are going to cut the top off. It's actually 11 inches across. We are also going to cut a hole for the burner tube, which will be measured from the bottom, 5 1/4 inch centered, 3 1/4 from the side centered, and it will make a hole. The hole will have a slight oval shape because of the curvature of the tank. And that will be made from this. This is commonly called a chain link fence corner post, available at almost any building supply, and you'll see a small section of it. For the inside liner, you'll be picking this up, also available in most building supplies. It's a concrete form tube, and we'll be cutting it to fit in the center. Then we'll be adding wool, which is a really highly insulating blanket with all kinds of nice thermal features, around the outer edge, and then packing the inner edge with refractory cement. I'm using KS4. Also, for the lid, we will be cutting a 4-inch hole in the top, which will be our charge hole, and also our exhaust. I'm going to show you in detail exactly how to do this, make the burner, pretty much everything you need to know, with the measurements and everything, so you really can't go wrong. This is an example of the different tanks you may find. This tank here is the current type. It has a triangular shaped valve. It's got a overfill protection device, like a float down in the tank that keeps the propane filling. It won't be overdone. It also has a secondary valve. Notice I turn, this is full of gas, but I turn this and nothing happens. Until you put a grill type connection on, which presses into the other valve here, no gas will come out. Now these are old styles. If it doesn't have this wheel, they cannot be refilled. They also would have to be recertified. These are only good for 12 years. And these are way past that. Now, what we need to do, of course, is make sure it doesn't have any gas in it. This style here, generally you open the valve and the gas comes out. In order to transport these, you had to have a plastic plug that you put in, because these are relatively unsafe. So much as it gets hit, it will leak. It's not good in your car, especially. Now this is a little bit different. It's kind of a hybrid between the two before they standardize. This valve is slap full of gas. I found this a few weeks ago by the side of the road. And notice I turn the valve and nothing happens. This is what you want to watch out for. So always make sure you put a grill type fitting on, which we're going to do right now. Tighten it up all the way, and make sure there's no gas in it. That's gas. Since this is full of propane, I'm going to use the free propane before I cut this tank up to make the foundry. And then once it's evacuated, I'll be flushing it with water and cutting it up. Now, with these old tanks, these valves are almost impossible to remove. The sealant they use hardens with age. And you want to make sure that there's no remaining gas. Even after you open it up and it all comes out, you still got a mixture of propane and air, which is an explosive mixture, and so you don't want to cut into it or slice into it with a saw, or even drill into it for that matter. Now, since these valves are hard to remove, I figured out a way that you can do it safely. The valve itself has a nut that holds it in. It's a 5/8 inch. You take a wrench, and now this is what they call left-hand thread, meaning clockwise loosened. So turn it clockwise, and you see it comes loose very easily. You remove this, and once you've removed this, you can take a hose and put it in the top, put your hand over this and start filling it with water. I will take it out right now and show you how to do this. Do that about 3 or 4 times. Now you remove the plug, slap full of water, turn it upside down, let it drain. It'll take a while since it doesn't have an air hole in it, but after it, do this to repeat the process 3 times, it will be safe to cut. This is the tank we'll be working with. I like this double handle. Some of them have just a single handle, and when you're working with heavy welding gloves, which you will do when you're using the Foundry, this is really handy to get a good grip on. What we need to do first is we're going to chop the tank, top off the tank. We'll be reusing the top for the lid. We'll be using this type of saw blade. It's just a plain old metal cutting blade. Fits on a skill saw, table saw. It's fairly inexpensive. And I've already set this for 11 inches. We want to have a line all the way around here that we can use to cut by that is 11 inches high. It takes a little time doing it this way, but it'll work. So what we do is start tracing. Straight as you can, and make a mark. And just continue all the way around it. You have a line that you can use to cut by. This is just a standard permanent marker you get anywhere. Okay, we are ready to slice the tube. This is going to produce a lot of sparks. So you need to wear, obviously, a full face shield and, you know, for comfort, maybe some protective clothing. Alright, we got the tube cut. This is for the lid. This is the base of the Foundry. Pretty simple, really. Okay, now we need to cut the hole for the burner tube. We need to go 5 1/4 inches to center from the bottom of the Foundry. And then we have a little template. It is 2 3/8 of an inch diameter, which is the size we need to cut. Okay. Now when the tube is actually welded in place, we'll be taking a little bit, making it a little more of an oval so that it will shoot in on the side, not dead center. And we'll adjust that with the welding and the grinding. What we're after, and this is the secret of these small foundries, is the gas goes in and swirls around starting at the bottom, which keeps more gas inside instead of it all exhausting out the top, and makes kind of like a little cyclone of fire that travels around the crucible before it exits out the charge hole. hole in the top. For cutting the smaller holes, we'll be using a Dremel tool with a This is a reinforced cutting wheel. They also make the smaller garnet type wheels. These work pretty well. These go a little bit quicker. This will be moving at thousands of RPM. You have to have goggles. These wheels can break, and of course you don't want them to hit your eye. Otherwise, they work pretty good. They cut a very fine slot in the steel, so it doesn't take as much abrasive to cut through it. And that's what we'll be using to make the hole for this, and also the charging hole, 4-inch charging hole in the top of the foundry. And as you can see, just do a series real slowly all around the marked line, getting a cut started, and then you'll plunge on through to the inside in stages, so you can get the pattern set and it won't be tending to jump around on you as much, and make it much easier to cut a fairly decent hole. Now here we have the hole cut. This did a pretty good job. It's got a little rough edges. Dremel also makes an assortment of grinding wheels, and we'll take the grinding wheel and shape it up. And then in order to get the pipe to angle more this way, we're going to be taking a little bit of metal off of these two edges. Very, very slight oval. Don't cut an exaggerated oval. Just work with it as a little bit at a time as you go. This is what the final hole looks like. You can see it is a very slight oval. Insert the tube where it's supposed to go. Go all through for measuring. And measure 2 inches from here to here, because we have a 2-inch liner all the way around. And that's what this actually measures out to be. A little less, gives me a little bit of adjustment room. And then we'll get ready to weld it in place. This is for cutting the 4-inch hole in the lid. What I did is I measured 2 inches from the center of this off, made some marks, and then using a pattern, I lined it up with those marks and then traced it out. I'll just be cutting from this end. It's easier because I wasn't got all this in the way as far as cutting. Hole for the top, ground and cut, and also the hole for the burner tube. At this point, before we do the welding, at this point it would be a good idea to clean this thing up a bit. It's got surface rust on it. This paint is not high temp paint, it's just plain old common enamel. And so I prefer sandblasting. It's fast and it's quick. But just any method, it's the same thing as cutting the holes. I mean, if you have a jigsaw or a sawzall, well, just use a metal cutting blade. You don't have to do, just whatever you have available at the shop is what you should use. Okay, now we're ready to cut. Go ahead and cut off the excess on the tube. It's 10 inches on the long edge and 8 3/4 of an inch on the short. And just figure 10, that's close enough. We're going to try to chop a straight cut off, and that's where the burner tube will actually fit. The burner will actually fit into this tube here.